Kindly stand as we welcome the Honorable Premier. Please be seated. A pleasant morning to everyone. Welcome to the May's edition of the Premier's monthly press conference. We must apologize for the unusual late start this morning. These press conferences, as you are aware, are designed to give an openness, transparency, and accountability within the Nevis Island administration. As per usual, the Premier will make his usual statement. He will give the update from the different ministries, departments, and units within the NIA, after which members of the press corps will be given the opportunity to ask their questions. We beg that in so doing, you kindly give your name and the organization that you represent. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, join me in welcoming to the podium the Honorable Premier of Nevis, Mark A.G. Brantley.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this month's edition of our monthly press conference. I know that P.S. Daniel has said that we are unusually late. We are about 5 minutes late, but of course we take being on time very, very important. It's very important to us to be on time, and so I want to apologize for the late start. I had a meeting prior which prevented me from being here on time. And so, without further ado, let me get into the information that the various ministries have provided. I want to start by congratulating Miss Akeisha Fergus, who was Nevis's 2014 Culturama Queen and St. Kitts' 2014 Carnival Queen first run-up, and Mr. Ryan Cadu for being recognized by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, AICA, as leaders of rurality of the Americas, who are demonstrating that rural agriculture production can be a great option for younger generations. I feel quite proud to see these two youngsters being celebrated internationally, because it was recently we went to see Miss Fergus, and she was explaining how she had created her smoothie business, but had also supported her business by doing some farming. And so the watermelons and all of the fruits that she was using for a smoothie, she was producing locally, really farm to table, and showing how the connectivity can be achieved in terms of agriculture. And so we feel very proud of Ms. Fergus and Mr. Cadu, and I want to commend them both for being recognized as they have been by this international body. Congrats also to Professor Bernice Herbert, PhD, for being awarded a $499,996 grant by the Gulf Research Program of National Academy of Science, Engineering and Medicine to lead a groundbreaking development initiative focused on preparing minority youth for careers in a growing clean energy. Professor Herbert, of course, hails from Nevis, and we are grateful to her. Her family is a well-known family here, all brilliant people, and I congratulate her. We also congratulate Nevision food blogger, Miss Kashma Evelyn Nisbet. She has Food for Cash, that's a hashtag. She's being selected by Antigua and Barbuda Tourism Authority for a press trip to attend and promote their culinary month of May. So we have influencers right here in Nevis who are making their mark regionally. Let me also commend young Ajane Hodge. I want to give her a special shout out because she just had an excellent presentation representing the Federation on the UNICEF Eastern Caribbean Different Social Media Live. She went live on Facebook, IG, YouTube on 22nd May, where she spoke on the topic Together for a Period-Friendly World. She was the youngest person on the panel, and I think those who know Ms. Hodge know that she is destined for greatness, incredibly talented young woman. The Nevis Renewable Solar Desalination Water Project was recently awarded the Best Energy Resilience Project at the 7th Annual Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum or Industry Awards held in Miami. The awards celebrate innovation, leadership, and impact in advancing the Caribbean's clean energy transition. I feel very, very proud of this. I want to commend the Honorable Spencer Brand, our minister, who has led efforts in terms of water, and his team. And I also want to give thanks to the United Arab Emirates. This was one of the projects that we had negotiated with the UAE, one for Nevis, one for St. Kitts. Well, the one for Nevis is not only up and running, it has now attracted the best-in-class status. And I was very pleased to be in Miami to receive that award at the 7th Annual Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum. And as I said, the best project, best energy resilience project, that was the award that Nevis received. And I received that award on behalf of all of us here on the island of Nevis, and commend again the excellent efforts that are being made. When you're from this island and we are so small, and you realize that the rest of the world is looking on, and not us marking our own exam paper, but the rest of the world marking it for us and telling us you are best in class, I think that speaks wonders to what we're doing on the island of Nevis. If I can segue to tourism, the Mount Nevis Hotel has been recognized with TripAdvisor's Traveler's Choice Best of Best Award. It has earned a spot among the top-rated hospitality destinations worldwide, and this award is an award that is only extended to the top 1% of hotels globally. So we congratulate Mount Nevis Hotel for being so recognized and continue to wish them every success. The Nevis Mango Festival is in full swing. It will happen, of course, from July 4th to 6th, and promotions are in high gear now. The festival will once again celebrate Nevis's unique mango varieties and vibrant culinary culture, featuring top local, regional, and international chefs. The general public is reminded that tickets are now available online and at the Nevis Tourism Authority office in downtown Charlestown. Festival tickets can be purchased online via the official Nevis Mango Festival website and are also available at the Nevis Tourism office in town, as I've said. Tickets, I'm told, are going fast, so please secure yours. On Friday, the 4th of July, the Nevis Mango Festival will be at Ubrenta, located at Cades Bay. There will be some fun events there, mango eating, mango stoning competition, as well as a master class with internationally acclaimed chef Bryant Terry. On Friday evening, there will be a bar crawl at Pinny's. On Saturday 5th will be the Mango Passport Food Tour, which will feature 6 of our local eateries during the day, and the Supper Club, which this year will be at the Golden Rock Hotel in the evening. And the Mango Fest then climaxes on Sunday 6th with a signature event for the love of mangoes at the MGR Park, which includes an exciting lineup of local artists featuring Denise Gordon, Garlic and the Greenhouse Band, Abena Amri, and others. And we anticipate that we should have over 50 local chefs plying their trade, demonstrating their culinary abilities, and providing delights, all mango-themed, mango-infused, to the public. So we invite, of course, all to come out, beautiful people of St. Kitts, those here in Nevis who support these events, and those who are coming in from overseas just to be part of the 11th edition of the Nevis Mango Festival. Let me also announce, I'm quite proud because a tremendous level of work has gone into this, but we are at the cusp of launching Nevis's tourism new marketing material and brand. It has been reviewed and refreshed over the last several months. There will be an event at the Montpelier Hotel this evening for invited stakeholders to look at the reveal, and then there will be a similar event on June 2nd in New York, which is part and parcel of Caribbean Week. That's happening in New York. The CTO, Caribbean Tourism Organization, is having the Caribbean Week, and we will do that in New York as well. New York, of course, being an important source market. The material is quite interesting. I think that the public will find it quite fascinating what we have done in terms of the new look and new feel for Nevis tourism. And I want to thank the leadership at the Nevis Tourism Authority. They have spearheaded this effort. Currently, of course, the NTA is led by the acting CEO, who's Mr. Farron Jones. I want to commend him and his entire team. They've worked really, really hard at this, and commend also the board for their leadership in relation to this effort. And we look forward certainly to rolling this out so that the people of Nevis can see what it is we have worked so hard over the last several months, in fact nearly a year, on. Nevis Tourism Awareness Month, dubbed Exposition Nevis, has been an outstanding success. We, of course, have had a number of events, including our Tourism Youth Congress, and let me take this time to congratulate Ms. Kayla Claxton She's a 2025 winner of the Nevis Junior Tourism Youth Congress. She hails from the Gingerland Secondary School, and she, of course, succeeds Miss Kiana Warner, who is the reigning not only local Junior Tourism Congress winner, but the reigning Regional Tourism Youth Congress champion. Remember, Miss Warner went off to the CTO event and beat all the other competitors. She beat the entire Caribbean to emerge as a champion. She's the third Nevisian who has achieved that feat. And we are confident that Miss Kyla Claxton can do likewise. And so we say congratulations to her, and we thank Miss Warner for her service and for her interest. Miss Warner is a brilliant young lady, and we anticipate that she will do great things in her life. We know that Miss Kyla Claxton is also a brilliant young lady, and we also anticipate that she will do great things. New events on this year's calendar included a scenic island tour, inclusive of lunch, sunset dinner, an environmental cleanup campaign, and a night at Passions. Passions, of course, my good friend Karen right there in Cox. Passions Bar and Grill, which would have featured Nevisian cuisine. The feedback has been overwhelming. The month of activities will climax tomorrow, Friday, at the health fair at the Bath Hot Spring. And we want you to go out. It promises to be very exciting at the Bath Hot Springs tomorrow. They're going to have yoga, Pilates, they're going to have lots of food, and the important thing for many to know is that all fees to use the Bath stream will be waived tomorrow. So the idea is to get people there and to encourage people to be a part. The ministry will also host a post-exhibition Nevis event at New River on Friday, 6 June, in the form of an open day, featuring cultural performances and the sale of local produce and cuisine. So we thank the public for being a part of this. Tourism, as we say, is everybody's business, and we are certainly happy that Expo has been such a success for 2025. Members of the press, I would have come some time ago. In fact, it was during the COVID pandemic, and we would have indicated that Nevis recognized more forcefully than ever before of the need for us to diversify the local economy. One of the areas that we hit upon was the film industry. Some scoffed and said it wouldn't be possible, but we thought it was a good idea and we persevered. We would have entered into an arrangement with MSR Media, and MSR Media would have honored their arrangement with the NIA and would have produced, I believe, some 9 films during the course of the pandemic right here on the island of Nevis. MSR is no longer operating on the island of Nevis at this point in time, but we have not abandoned our quest to continue in terms of film and the film industry. I am very happy, therefore, to report that last week, a production company from the U.S. with a major TV network was on island. They were here for a total of 6 days and were able to include much of the island's natural beauty and rich heritage during the shoot. A total of 24 local persons were hired in various roles, such as production coordinator, production assistants, drivers, security, medics, and lifeguards. We are under a non-disclosure agreement, and so I can't get into the details of who was here and all that was happening, because they say they want to be the ones to make the announcements. But let us just say it's a major television series, and it was filmed right here on the island of Nevis. That's not all. There will be, commencing on the 16th of June, a short film production. Much of Nevis's landscape will be included in the film, as well as 12 local hires. Most significantly, the main character in the film is Nevisian. That again is happening on June 16th. So I want you to stay with me, because we just came out of a major production for a major television series, U.S. television series, that was filmed here, hiring some 24 locals during the process. They were here for 6 days. We also are having another production that starts on the 16th of June. That will hire about 12 locals, and the main character in that film is actually Nevisian. And then, excellent news again, the Nevis Film Commission is scheduled to be launched. Members of the press would have realized that we had scheduled a launch of the Film Commission before, but on that weekend we had torrential rains. That was the same weekend when we had the downpours that led to so much flooding over in St. Kitts and quite a bit of disruption throughout the Federation. Well, we have now rescheduled that to Sunday, 22nd June. It will be at NEPAC, and there will be a special screening of Hamilton's America, a documentary on the making of the hit Broadway show Hamilton. Registration is free and opens on Monday, 1st June by going to the Nevis Film Commission on Facebook or Instagram. I want members of the press and public to understand that these efforts are not by accident. They are a consequence of continuous work and effort. Following up on leads, I want to publicly thank Mrs. Pamela Martin, who leads the Film Commission as our Film Commissioner, and I know the level of work that has gone in. Many leads don't materialize, and so we follow up on them anyway. And as we try to build awareness, we have engaged with consultants, and we are seeking to build this out. I know that we are, as I have described publicly, in an Instagram culture. People want everything immediately. But I also hope that right-thinking members of our society will understand that development takes time, and that it requires us to invest time, effort, and yes, sometimes money and resources in order to get reward. I believe that the last filming, now complete, of this major TV show here is a huge win for the island and for our film industry. The reports from the stars and also from the producers have been excellent. The people of Nevis and the island of Nevis performed well. And I want to commend all of those who were involved in making that a reality. We see that as just the tip of the iceberg. We see huge potential for film, for photo shoots, for music videos, for advertisements, commercials of all kinds happening here on the island of Nevis. And nothing gives me greater satisfaction, members of the press and public, than when we have a vision that we can actualize and that we can see on the ground manifesting itself for the benefit of our people. 24 people worked on that TV series, filmed here over 6 days. 12 people are going to be engaged, local people I mean, in relation to the short film that starts on the 16th of June. What that does as well, beyond the employment, is it builds capacity. These local people are interacting and rubbing shoulders with the experts, the technical teams that are coming out to Nevis. And I just want to say to our people that while visions sometimes take time to materialize, the results are there for all to see. And the film industry that we have spoken about is still alive and well, and we are still committed to making it happen. The launch of the Film Commission, again, tremendous work has gone into that, and we anticipate that with that launch, we will now have a one-stop shop for those who want to come in to do films. We have done a lot of work in the background. For example, we have created an entire catalog of photos and videos of potential film destinations, interesting areas in Nevis, all of which are designed to attract filmmakers to come. Will we get the next big blockbuster being done in Nevis? Perhaps not. But we can create a film industry which adds value. That TV series, for example, we had, I believe, nearly all of Mount Nevis booked out for the crew, and then both Mount Nevis and Four Seasons partnered and had the stars who were staying at the Four Seasons resort. They were in fact there at a point in time when Four Seasons was again sold out. No room in the inn. Let me use their terminology. They were fully committed. Let me move on to the Ministry of Education, Library Services, Information Technology and Youth. I want to congratulate Kalia Jones who was recently awarded Freshman of the Year at Monroe University for her outstanding performance in the outdoor track season. Her accomplishments for the season include a personal best time of 55.78 seconds in the 400 meter. 3 Nevis players were recently selected to represent the Sinkers Nevis senior men national team in international games versus St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Martin. Alger Newton and Jalden Myers, along with debutant Chris Jeffers. Alger and Jalden play football, so this has to be a football team. Congratulations to all as we continue to make significant strides in football. We also say congratulations to the Bring It swim team out of Nevis. They traveled to Barbados to compete in the Sonia O'Neill Memorial International Invitational. While they didn't win any medals, a number of swimmers were able to attain personal bests. One such individual was Miss Skylar Connor, who improved on her Carifta times. The Department of Sports continued the Cricket in the Schools initiative during the month of May. The program focuses on building the functional cricket skills for primary school students as they prepare for the upcoming TDC Ronaldo Morton Cricket Tournament. I should also add that the Cabinet has approved some financial support for the Nevis Cricket Association to allow the senior cricket team to participate in this year's Leeward Islands tournament. I want, however, to use this rostrum to encourage the Nevis Cricket Association to see what it can do to raise funds to support the various initiatives of that association. We have unfortunately come to a point in Nevis where every time these teams have to travel, they come with the entire bill to the government and ask the government to fund. Whilst we are prepared to assist where we can, it is also useful that these various sporting organizations seek to help themselves. It does not, for me, make sense to see vibrant organizations sit back all year, do nothing, and then when there's a tournament, they bring the whole bill. I'm not talking about part of the bill. The entire bill is brought to us. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the press, that the government has no say, no membership, and no participation in many of these organizations. These associations are not government run, they are not government controlled, they're not departments of government. They function with their own constitution, their own leadership, their own board and management. And I cannot, as Premier, call up the Nevis Cricket Association to say, I think this youngster from Brownhill should be in the team. I have nothing at all to do with that. The Cricket Association functions independently. And our view is that, like other associations, we need our sporting organizations to do what they can and to raise funds. And it can be done. I have great admiration, for example, for folks at the Water Department. Every year, I think at around Easter, they have a club and they travel. They have never once come to government to ask for anything. You know why? Because every Friday, they have that now famous barbecue, what they do every Friday at the Water Department. And they have continued that tradition to the point now it's become very famous, that you go there on a Friday afternoon for some of the best barbecue chicken and ribs that you can get in the Federation. And they raise money because they know that as an organization, each Easter they want to travel. I am saying that other organizations need to engage in additional effort just like that. Because if the cost, for example, of taking a team to Antigua to play cricket is $50,000, and the Cricket Association is going to say to us, we need you to give us $50,000. It means that they've not raised a penny of their own during the year to get them to a position where they can participate. We, as a government, we want partnership. So if you need $50,000 for the trip and you come and you say, government, could you give us 20 because we have raised 30? That is the kind of partnership that I think makes sense. And so I encourage more to be done in that regard rather than simply shifting the burden, the entire burden to the government. Rather, we need a partnership. The Department of Youth is seeking interested businesses to partner for the 2025 Summer Job Attachment Program. The program is a career preparation that caters to school leavers. We're looking to provide these partners to provide internships, and of course, these would then generate opportunities for school leavers in terms of work. The Department of Education, Nevis, would have hosted the 16th annual Interscholastic Spelling Bee competition for primary and secondary schools. The competition was sponsored by Dr. Lornette Mills Charitable Foundation, the sponsor for several years. Let me give a shout out to Dr. Mills and to thank her, Nivision, abroad, who has consistently contributed to the island of Nevis and more specifically to education. Additional sponsorship for the event included contributions from HarperCollins Publishers as well as the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank. The Ivor Walters Primary School, let me say it again. The Ivor Walters Primary School was victorious once more as they emerged a winner of this year's competition. Other placements included second place, Joyceton Liebert Primary, third place, St. James Primary. The best speller was Jadrian Jones of the St. James Primary School. Congratulations to you, Jadrian Jones. Congratulations to the Ivor Walters Primary. Congratulations to second place, Joyceton Liebert, and third place, St. James Primary. In the secondary category, the Gingerland Secondary School emerged as champions. Other placements, second place was the Charleston Secondary School, third place was the Nevis International Secondary School. And here again, this name comes up. The best speller was Ajane Hodge of the Gingerland Secondary School. Remember I mentioned Ajane earlier? Well, she is the best speller from the winning school, Gingerland Secondary. We extend heartfelt appreciation to all the sponsors, organizers, and those who made it possible. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me a moment because I want to speak about something that I'm very proud about. Something that I want to start by commending the Honorable Troy Liebert, our Minister of Education, and his team, his PS Zenel Claxton, his PEO, Londa Brown, and the entire team at Education. A lot of times when things go wrong, we are very quick to blame and to attack. When things go well, we are silent. I think it's important that we give honor and respect and express gratitude with the same level of fervor that we attack. When things go wrong, we know our public wants answers and wants them to be fixed. And that's our responsibility as government, to fix and to make better. But when things go right, I also feel that we should be in the front of the queue to say well done. And we have been trying in terms of STEM to do more. Science, technology, engineering, and math. We know across our region we are having some serious problems in terms of science, technology, engineering, and math. Our pass rate at the CSEC level has been dropping precipitously in relation to some of these subjects. From my time, and this was way back when Noah was building the ark, when I was in high school, people say science hard, physics hard, maths hard, and they shy away from those subjects. That has continued to this very day. We need to change that, and I believe that in Nevis we have taken some bold steps. And so we have STEM Week 2025, happened during the week 19th to 23rd May, under the theme STEM, Collaborate, Evaluate, Create, Solve. During the week, the Department of Education held various activities aimed at bringing awareness to the core disciplines associated with STEM, as well as highlight the ongoing work in our schools and STEM integration. Below are some of the highlights. Launch of the week. We had live stream audience saw the outline of the activities for the week. The highlight was the commitment of the First Federal Cooperative Credit Union to the 2025 STEM Challenge. Science Forum, a discussion between an esteemed panel, students, teachers, education officials, and representatives from the Medical University of the Americas, the Bureau of Standards, and the Department of Agriculture, highlighting and exploring innovations and career opportunities in science. The highlight was the input of students on the panel as well as those in the audience as we understand the importance of youth voices. Math Infusion Day, a day in all schools where mathematics was integrated in all subject areas. I really would love to see how they integrated math in English class. That's rather interesting. Digital Literacy Day, that we highlighted the importance of digital literacy. Teachers demonstrated lessons from the new digital literacy curriculum. Now, importantly, members of the press, students received personal electronic devices. Over 1,200 devices were distributed to primary and lower secondary school students. Schools received devices that would remain at school to facilitate use with the whole classes. Over 350 devices were distributed to primary schools. Upper secondary school student devices are being prepared for distribution in the upcoming days, as they require a little more processing and preparation for distribution. Over 200 devices will be distributed. Teacher devices are being prepared for distribution in upcoming days, as they require a little more processing and preparation for distribution. Over 300 devices will be distributed to teachers. And close to 100 devices are being prepared for preschools for use at those preschools. I just want to pause there for a moment because I think that that is absolutely phenomenal. We are distributing devices as we seek to advance digital literacy in our country, in our island, amongst our people. Not only to students at the primary level, but we are also ensuring that teachers are equipped, students at the high schools are equipped, and the schools are equipped. We've gone so far now to say we're going to have devices deployed at the preschool level. So we want our children from the youngest ages to be conversant with technology. The devices form part of the digital literacy plan, which focuses on sensitization. We are educating our students, teachers, leaders, and the public about the importance of digital literacy. The aim is to build the necessary skills to make our students digitally literate and equip them with skills that are needed to navigate the digital world. The devices which will remain in schools will be used for integrating technology in the classrooms across the various subjects. Other components of the plan include the ongoing process to update the digital literacy curriculum and a current partnership with Macmillan Publishing and Digital Schoolhouse to build the capacity of our teachers charged with shaping and implementing the guiding document. I want to pause there again because we have also leveraged partnerships to train our teachers. A lot of times the teachers complain that the students know more about the digital world than they do. Students have these devices and are quite innovative in the use and creative in the use of these devices. A lot of the teachers feel they're being left behind. We understand that some of our teachers, if you've been there for 20 and 30 years, you were taught to teach at a time when technology was not so important. And so we are not only seeking to transform the understanding of our students, we are also equipping our teachers with the necessary skills and tools to deliver education to our students in this new digital age. I can't commend the team enough. We also, because I'm not done, the Department of Education also has devices which can be accessed at the Education Resource Center for use by who? Parents and guardians to support their students at home, and also to be utilized to support technological integration in the classrooms. So here's what we're doing. We're handing out devices to students, primary and secondary level. 2, we are putting hundreds of devices in the schools. Those will stay in school. Those will allow you to now use those devices at the school. We are handing out devices to the teachers and training the teachers on how to deliver education using these devices. We are putting devices in our preschools, and we are putting devices at our Education Resource Center for use by parents and guardians. The idea, ladies and gentlemen, is a holistic approach to digitization. And based on the numbers, you would have realized that we are talking about well over 1,500 devices to be distributed across the education sector. I want to take this opportunity because none of this happens without partnership. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to our partners in the process, the government of Republic of China, Taiwan, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis through a Caribbean Development Bank grant, and the Winsong Foundation. They have combined to help us make this thrust towards building digitally literate citizens possible. The Department of Education will continue to provide sensitization in the coming weeks and months. I think we can agree that this is a giant leap forward for the island of Nevis. The third annual First Federal Cooperative Credit Union STEM Challenge was held on Thursday, 21st May at the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. The competition is structured to create an environment where students collaborate to solve various math and science problems. The results of the competition were first place, Gingerland Secondary School. Second place, Charlestown Secondary School. This is on the secondary level. Third place, Nevis International School. Primary schools, first place was the Charlestown Primary, second place the VOJN Primary, and third place the Mort Cross School. A display of work students have done during the year in science and math classes happened at the STEM Expo. Students also participated in a competition where they identified an environmental problem that we faced in Nevis and developed a STEM project to try and solve or limit the effects of that problem. That STEM Expo, we also had a bit of a competition, and I'm pleased to congratulate the first place winner at the secondary level, Gingerland Secondary again. Second place, Charlestown Secondary. Third place, Nevis International. Primary level, first place went again to Charlestown Primary, second place to the Joyce and Libert Primary, and third place to St. James. I want to commend the St. James schools. You know, they're the two smaller schools, but you can tell VOJN and St. James Primary have been doing quite well. Their name keeps popping up. And I congratulate them, staff, teachers, head teacher, the whole family over there in St. James. Let me move on quickly. The Charlestown Secondary School, whose motto is Industria et Virtute, would have celebrated 75 years, 75th anniversary, under the theme Honoring the Past, Inspiring the Future. That ceremony and celebration continues. I just want to say that there will be a carnival fair on Friday, 30th May, and there will be a gala and award ceremony on June 21st. Tickets are available. You must contact the school for more details. They are having a number of events, including the Merrill Carbon Invitational, a sporting event. Transition Day. On Friday, 30th May, that's tomorrow, students and prospective students will have an opportunity to be oriented to the class or school that they will be placed in the new term. Each student will move up to the next level in the system and get engaged in activities with their teacher at the new grade. And so these are all things that we do and continue to do. Child Month. June 2025 marks the 40th anniversary of Child Month celebrations in the Federation, with a month of activities commencing on 1st June. We'll have, of course, the usual activities, including a grand march through Charlestown. And before I move on, ladies and gentlemen, from education, let me also report that we would have had the largest single investment in school furniture in the history of the island of Nevis, delivered to the island earlier this year, and I'm pleased to report that we've already equipped our high schools with new desks and chairs for our students, and we have rolled out the delivery of that furniture to all of our primary schools. And so we anticipate that every school on the island of Nevis will have new desks and chairs for their students. Let me correct that. Every public school on the island of Nevis will have new desks and chairs for their students. I really want to say a heartfelt thank you to the Winsong Foundation, which has, as you've heard before, donated computers devices. They're now donating a considerable quantity of furniture that will make the comfort of our students much better. And so for those primary schools that have not yet had all of their furniture delivered, please bear with us. We are working on it, but the intention is to ensure that all of our schools, our public schools in Nevis, have brand new desks and chairs for the better comfort of our students. Members of the press and public, I want to emphasize again that what we're doing is not haphazard. What we're doing is not happenstance. It's not by accident. We are working to a plan. You hear about new desks, new chairs. You hear about devices, personal devices to the children and devices in schools for them to use. Devices to the teachers, training for the teachers. Devices at the Education Resource Center for use by parents and guardians. We are adopting a holistic approach to education and to development, and I can't commend the team enough. Let me move quickly then to the Ministry of Communications and Works. The Water Resource Management Unit. We continue, as you know, with our drilling exercise for more water. Earlier this year, the drillers hit the top of the water table in Descents, that's in Gingerland. We have already completed 2 wells, which are high-yield wells in the Maddens area. This now is our 3rd well that we are drilling. We got down to 750 feet, but there was a cave-in, and that caused the drilling equipment to become stuck. Our drillers were from Trinidad. They returned to Trinidad. They brought back additional equipment to start the retrieval process. Efforts began about 2 weeks ago to retrieve the stuck drill bit, but to date, that work has proven more stubborn than usual. We are, however, optimistic that they will be successful. If, however, they are unsuccessful, they would have to adjust the location by a few feet and commence drilling a new well in the same vicinity. That's a more expensive proposition, so we're hopeful that they can retrieve the stuck bit. Work continues even now as we try to remedy that particular problem. The Public Works Department continues to undertake works at the supply office in Pinnis. That's now in its final stages. The Buildings Division continues to work on the Physical Planning Water Department building, just in the back there of the post office. We are currently working on repainting exterior walls, window sills, etc., cosmetic work. They've also been doing some work at the Government House building at Government House. Road construction work continues on the upper section of Brown Pasture, Morgan Estate Road. The installation of a new water main has been completed. Roadbed preparation and compaction has been completed. The contractor is now on site installing the concrete curbs. I want again to thank the good people of that area for their patience. They went so far as to send a petition how bad that road was. And I have driven it myself. I have empathized with them. I have promised faithfully that we will do it. And praise be to God, we are now doing it. The department is supervising the construction of a concrete drain project at Low Street. The drain is west of what we know as Fanny's Store. The old stone drain had deteriorated and was not functioning. This will bring much needed relief from any possible flooding to the people of Low Street. Additionally, a second phase of the work will entail a reconstruction of the culvert which crosses the main road at Fanny's Store. That work is being undertaken by a private contractor and supervised by Public Works. And beginning the week of June 2nd, that's next week, we will commence road rehabilitation and resurfacing on the section of the Island Main Road in Pinnis, spanning from the old Jehovah's Witness Church. Many of you may not know where that is. So it is in the area there of the old Pinnis Beach Hotel, where I think there is now West Tech, I believe, that area, and that will run all the way to the bridge at the Malcolm Gishard Park. So we are systematically improving the hard infrastructure, roads, bridges, culverts, drains. And members of the press, let me just commend the vision of Minister Brand and his team. The reason I say that is because we had some torrential rains here some weeks ago. And the fact that there was very little disruption to the day-to-day lives of Nevisians speaks eloquently to the level and quality of work that we've been doing in terms of infrastructural development in Nevis. Our road network held up. There was no significant flooding because we have invested significantly in proper drainage. And even our guts, we have cleaned them periodically and ensured that our people were safe even during those floods. I think that that is important. Oftentimes when we invest and we roll out our investments in public infrastructure, people scoff and they try to denigrate what we're doing. But the benefits of what we do are most seen when we have torrential rains, when we have storms, when we have climatic conditions that could create chaos and problems for our people. In this instance, Nevis weathered the storm beautifully. And that is not, again, by happenstance. That's because we have planned, we have executed. Some political figure some time ago attacked me and said, what have we done with monies that we got in Nevis? I point to our infrastructure. I point to the resilience of our infrastructure. I point to our drainage systems. I point to our bridges and our culverts. I point to what we have achieved on this island as evidence, tangible evidence, that speaks more eloquently than I could about what we have done with the resources that have been made available to the people of Nevis. They're there for all of us to see and to experience and to benefit from. And I think that that is the value of what we have done. When we see what we have done tested, Mother Nature came. It dumped so much rain on us. No flooding, no damage, no difficulty. None of our people inconvenienced unduly. Our water system stayed on. Our electricity stayed on. Nevis stood strong. And that, ladies and gentlemen, only comes from a government that is committed to the infrastructure that is necessary to achieve sustainability. I'm very proud of the work that we are doing. And the evidence, as I say, is there for all to see. Let me shift to a necessary topic, but one I know that creates dread in all of us, and that is the hurricane season, because that starts on June 1st. And we have, I can advise, again under the leadership of the Honorable Spencer Brand, that we've already started our preparations, our stakeholders meetings. Forecasters at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, have predicted a 60% chance of above normal hurricane activity in this year. They say that we should expect 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes. What have we done thus far in Nevis? We have prepared our emergency shelters, inspected them. We have published where they are. The shelter and management training has been completed. School safety training for early childhood educators has been successfully conducted. Damage assessment and needs analysis training was completed from 19 to 22nd May. These are all proactive measures on our part. Again, many people do not put much value on this work, but it is necessary work that prepares us, and each year the team goes out. I want to commend Mr. Brian Dyer, who has led this team with distinction over the years. We, of course, prepare for the worst, but pray for the best. And every year at hurricane time, I call on all of us to pray. The churches to pray, members of the press to pray, all the politicians to pray, because prayer ultimately is the only thing that can ultimately protect us. We can't stop a hurricane from coming. We can only pray that it stays out to sea if it does come. And so I ask our nation to pray for our safety during this hurricane season. We had some U.S. university students engaged in disaster resilience and healthcare study abroad program in St. Kitts and Nevis. And these were faculty and students from the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and Utah Valley University. They arrived in the Federation to participate in a 2-week international study abroad program running from May 17 to 31st. The immersive program, hosted in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency, the Nevis Disaster Management Department, and the Ministry of Health, focused on disaster resilience, healthcare systems, and field-based research. We welcome, of course, these young students and hope that they will go back with fond memories of their time here. The Honorable Spencer Brand, Minister responsible for Communication and Disaster Management, has scheduled the Nevis Disaster Management Committee meeting for Monday, 2nd June, 9 a.m. at the Disaster Management EOC building. All subcommittee chairs, emergency response agencies, prominent secretaries, heads of government departments, stakeholders, Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and volunteers are required to attend. The purpose of this meeting is to present updates on the readiness status of each sector and agency in preparation for the hurricane season. Additionally, the Honorable Minister will convene a meeting with all current and prospective shelter managers on Tuesday, 3rd June, 9 a.m. at the Disaster Management EOC building. So again, the government is being proactive. We're not waiting. We're being proactive. We also have some upcoming training initiatives by the Nevis Disaster Management. We have counseling professionals training 4 to 6 June in collaboration with the Trauma Free World Organization. This training aims to strengthen the capabilities of local counselors. It will focus on equipping them with the tools needed to support individuals who may experience trauma during or after the hurricane season. I want the press to understand we're thinking about all aspects. What I say, we have all ends covered. Communication ambassadors training. The session is designed to prepare volunteers with essential media and reporting skills, enabling them to effectively communicate during emergencies. And importantly, report writing workshop, tailored for individuals trained in initial damage assessment and damage assessment needs. This workshop will enhance the ability to produce clear, accurate, and actionable reports. Again, I want to commend the team for the excellent work that they've been doing. We prepare for the worst, but we pray for the best. From community development. Community Development Month comes to a close. The department takes the time to thank all who would have contributed. On some of the events we've had, church service, of course, the Jessup's Seafood Fiesta. We had a podcast, Caribbean Migrant Masculinities. We had an auto body repair workshop. We had a floral arrangement workshop. Community Cares Food Drive, Nevis Cultural Heritage Festival. Now that will happen this Saturday. And I'm very excited as we climax with that because Nevis has become a melting pot. We have become a mosaic of different cultures. As the economy here grows and more people move to the island seeking work, seeking a better life for themselves and their families, we have people now from all across the world. I was surprised to learn that some of the food and the culture that will be on display on Saturday at the MGR Park at our Nevis Multicultural Heritage Festival includes places like Botswana, Sierra Leone. I have here Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Dominica, the Philippines, the Dominican Republic, China, St. Lucia, of course, St. Kitts and Nevis. And we also have, as I mentioned, Botswana, Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, and more. They say we should go back to Africa, but Africa has clearly come to us. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a story of success. It's a story of development. It is an opportunity for us to create greater cohesion in our communities, to bring people together, to say to those who have come from distant lands to make their life here that you are welcome. We welcome you to make your contribution. And so we are asking everyone who can to go out to the MGR Park this Saturday, starting at 12 noon, to sample bold, flavorful dishes from all of these countries and more. It's not just food, it's heritage on a plate. You said to come hungry? DJ Woodis will be the host, DJ Zimba and DJ Smudge will be there. Fun-filled day. They'll have performances by local acts, a variety of countries, performances, cooking demonstrations, and the Clifton Estate Rum Mixology Contest. Incidentally, Clifton Estate rum manufactured in Nevis. Domino competition, watermelon eating competition, and so much more. Just $5 gets you in. Prizes for the domino competition: first place $500, second place $300, third place $200. Registration fee is $10 per person. We're asking that you go out and you have some fun. Who are our sponsors? We must always pay respect to them. Amory Bakery, Chills Beach Bar and Grill, RJ Laws and Sons, TDC Group of Companies, Clifton Estate, New Mileage Mall, and Dong Fang Supermarket, Wally Beach Resort, Flow, and Carib Lottery. This is more than a festival, ladies and gentlemen. It's a celebration of people. It's a celebration of who we are. And we invite you to come out on Saturday and experience the food, the rhythm, the culture that is now becoming part of Nevis. We will also be having a FAD training workshop. The Jessup's Community Management Team, funded by UNDP, Jeff, Pro-Caribe, plus Project Blue Economy Initiative, is pleased to announce the upcoming FADs. And if you want to know what FADs mean, it's a fish aggregating device. Training program scheduled for June 11th to 13th at the Jessup's Community Center from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The goal is protecting and restoring the ocean's natural capital, building resilience, and supporting region-wide investments for sustainable blue socioeconomic development in the Caribbean. It's a 3-day workshop, and it's designed to build capacity, and I'm hopeful that our fisher folk will turn out and be a part of it. The project will target fish catching fisheries resources in the near shore to begin catching fish from fish aggregating devices in the open ocean. Instead of catching reef fish and causing degradation of the nearshore marine environment, the fishers will now move to the open ocean to catch fish from FADs. This strategy allows the nearshore marine habitat to regenerate its fish and coral populations while mitigating the impact of climate change. The plan is that over time the nearshore marine environment will morph into a state that will be reminiscent of its state at the beginning of its creation. Essentially, we want rejuvenation. You hear again the word of sustainability. This is about sustainability. That is what we're seeking to do. Department of Community Development is also excited to announce the return of Camp Refresh, a 2-week summer experience designed to inspire, educate, and energize our youth. Our theme for this year is Oceans Explorers. This theme will allow our children to explore science, history, and environmental responsibility. It will be where? At the Jessup's Community Center and Pond Hill Community Centers, 14th July to 25th July. The target ages are 5 to 16 years old. We're also having the Bread Nut Affair, scheduled to take place at the Pond Hill Community Center on Friday, June 27th. This event will highlight the many ways that bread nut can be prepared and enjoyed. While it is commonly boiled and eaten as is, the bread nut is a versatile ingredient that can be used in a wide variety of delicious dishes. Our goal is to promote greater appreciation for the bread nut and its culinary potential. And then we go to Barnesgut for the Barnesgut Breadfruit Festival. The annual Barnesgut Breadfruit Festival, held in the vibrant village of Barnesgut, celebrate one of Nevis's most treasured and resilient staples, the breadfruit. The event showcases the incredible versatility of the breadfruit through a variety of creative dishes, from traditional favorites to innovative new recipes. That event is slated for June 21st at the Barnesgut Community Center, beginning at 12 p.m. And we invite, of course, the public to be a part of all of these various events and experiences. Let me switch quickly to the Social Services Department. The Social Services Counseling Unit held its counselors retreat at the MGR Park on May 1st. for counseling professionals across the island of Nevis and St. Kitts under the theme Empowering to Empower. This was done as the main activity in celebration of Counseling Awareness Month, which is celebrated in April each year. RISE, R-I-S-E. On Wednesday, May 14th, the Social Services Department hosted a commemorative event marking the 10th anniversary of the RISE program under the theme Embracing Nevis Families, Reshaping Lives. The program, which stands for Restore, Inspire, Secure, Empower, has made a significant impact in the lives of vulnerable families on Nevis over the past decade. Since its launch, RISE has served 44 families, reaching a total of 274 individuals. The RISE program aims to improve the beneficiary families' educational, financial, and psychosocial well-being. The event highlighted the resounding success of participants, offering a moment of reflection, recognition, and renewed purpose. The ministry would like to express its gratitude to all of our speakers, participants, supporters, and those beneficiaries from this groundbreaking program. The success of the program has been attributed to the collaborative efforts of the RISE workers, participants, and funds and resources invested by this government. The Department of Social Services will be hosting a parenting and family support workshop on Wednesday, 11 June at MGR Park from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this workshop is designed to equip parents with practical skills for fostering healthier family dynamics. Our Seniors Division. In a rare and joyful celebration of life, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis celebrated its most recent centenarian on May 13th, Miss Evelyn Brown of Hibiscus Drive, Prospect Estate, Nevis. She was honored with tributes from across the country as friends, family dignitaries, and strangers alike joined in commemorating her century-long journey. In attendance were Her Honor, our beloved Deputy Governor General, Mrs. Hailita Liebert. I was there as the Premier of Nevis, Minister of Social Empowerment. Madam Minister Janelle Nisbet was there. The Honorable Deputy Premier Eric Evelyn, the Honorable Spencer Brand, other government officials were there. The Seniors Division had its first Ocean View Sunset Walk on Pinnis Beach on May 8th at 5:30 p.m. It was very engaging and entertaining afternoon as the seniors and a few young children walked the beach in the vicinity of the Four Seasons Resort to Pinnis Beach and back. The seniors really enjoyed the moments, especially the experience of capturing the sun dipping into the sea at approximately 6:30. The seniors of St. Paul's and St. Thomas's Recreational Group interacted with grades 3 and 4 from the St. Thomas's Primary School for intergenerational exchange. The day started off with devotions at 8:30 a.m. Some of the seniors were quite joyful as they reflected that there was a sense of joy in returning to their first primary school. Mrs. Eugenie Hector did story time and spoke of the miracle of the 5 loaves and 2 fishes. The theme for the visit was the importance of good etiquette. The children shared their views on what that meant, and this, of course, was an effort for our seniors to interact with our children and to pass on. The phrase that stood out was, most of them, they said, was manners takes you around the world without a penny. Family services. Foster Care Awareness Month is observed annually in May, and the Family Services Division will be celebrating the foster children and foster parents who continue to care. Many may not know that we have a foster care, foster parent system at work on the island of Nevis. It is one of the services offered for family services, and I'm quite proud of the strides that we've made thus far, and really would like to commend those parents, persons who have stepped forward and are functioning as foster parents to offer children in need the necessary care that they require. I want, ladies and gentlemen, to spend just a moment to congratulate the Honorable Janelle Nisbet and her team. From counseling to the 10th anniversary of RISE, to foster parenting to our seniors division. Incidentally, members of the press, you would know that Nevis has now been named the first senior-friendly city in the entire OECS region. We have and continue to do a remarkable job taking care of people. And I want you to know that all of these programs and policies have had the full backing of the cabinet that I'm privileged to lead. These programs come at a cost, but we have not shied away from allocating the necessary resources to ensure that the safety nets in our society, our people who need help, can get access to that help. So whether it's counseling, whether it's a RISE division, which has already benefited 44 families and 274 individuals. And incidentally with RISE, people are doing subjects, people are trying to advance their education. We're equipping people with skills. They say, do not give a man a fish, teach him how to fish. That is what we're seeking to do in Nevis. And I believe the team has been ably led by the Honorable General Nisbet, and I commend her and all the hard-working members of her various departments. We are in the business of taking care of people. We're in the business of demonstrating that we care. We're in the business of ensuring that those who need a hand up can get that hand up and be put on a path to sustainability for them and their families. Let me switch quickly to Culturama. It will be celebrated from July 24th to August 5th. And the Culturama Secretariat has in fact moved location. It is now at the Cotton Ginnery Mall, second floor. We've had the media launch. The list calendar of activities has been published. And I want to publicly congratulate Mr. Halstead Suti Byron. Some refer to him as Mr. Culture. He was chosen and given the esteemed role as the Culturama 50 patron. The new chairperson for the Culturama committee for this year's staging is Mr. Swain Evelyn. Please remember the registration deadlines. For the food fair, registration ends tomorrow, May 30th. The food section is filled to capacity, but we welcome the art and craft vendors until the deadline. Junior Kaiso, registration deadline June 13th. Senior Parade, registration deadline June 13th. Juve Troop, registration deadline June 13th. Please collect application forms from the Culturama Secretariat, which is now on the second floor of the Cotton Ginnery Mall. The Department of Agriculture, ably led by our Deputy Premier, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, has had a month of activities, and those activities have been progressing very well. Virus management training, livestock farmers training, vet open house, where the general public could have gone to see what happens at and in relation to the veterinary clinic. We have had seedling distributions to preschools and nurseries, fruit tree planting sessions at the primary schools, and of course staff development, staff morning devotion, as the case may be. They are going into the final furlong, and the Department of Marine Affairs, in conjunction with the Department of Gender Affairs, is hosting the annual fish pot making workshop. This will be at the Jessup's Playfield from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. And the workshop started on the 24th of May and will continue to the 31st of May. The Nevisian Fishermen's Supply Cooperative, in collaboration with Nevis Marine Resources Division, will be hosting its Fish Festival on June 13th at the Nevis Waterfront, featuring Bobby and Toby, DJ Smudge and Blackstone Sounds, and a array of events will be facilitated. And these include a cooking competition, ballyhoo eating competition, beer drinking competition, tug of war, sale of seafood dishes. Culturama Secretariat, as I said, has moved, so please go to upstairs the Cotton Ginnery Mall. That's where the new offices are. And so we look forward certainly to celebrating a successful Culturama this year. Slogan, Nevisian Pride, second to none. Culturama 51. Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave matters there and invite any questions that you may have from the press who are here. It looks like I've used up almost an hour in my presentation, and so I invite your questions now, if you have any. And if you don't have any, that's good also.
Good morning, Premier Brantley.
Good morning.
Donella Thompson, Vaughan Radio. I would have about 4 questions. Can we have an update on the geothermal project and the bidding process? And additionally with that question, has the NIA or federal government come to an agreement regarding the percentage the consumers would have to pay to contribute to the payments of loans obtained from the CDB and Saudi Fund of Development? And how would this directly affect the consumer generally? Has there been any recent progress with the airport rehabilitation project? And also, with the US government recently halting its student visa appointments, and this development projecting to have an impact on Caribbean students' ability to study in the US, what are your views on this development? That would be it for now from me. Thank you.
Very good questions, and I'm happy to see our youngest journalist is back. Ms. Thompson, welcome back. We had missed you here. On geothermal, I think we are making good progress. In fact, the Federation is currently having a massive conference. I think I saw many members of the press who were here today were at that conference. It's a Sustainable Island State Conference, and part of that was a geothermal conference that happened here in Nevis on Monday. And it allowed stakeholders, policymakers, and in fact some who are in the business of geothermal, private companies, to come together to share ideas. One of the highlights of Monday was a visit to the main site at Hamilton. And I can tell you that in that group were some who we hope will bid on this particular project. I had reported to the media that the initial plan was that bids should have been opened at the end of February of this year. We were forced, because there were a number of questions that the bidders asked, to deal with those questions, to reframe the bid documents, and to send out again. And as a result of that, we had extended the bid deadline until May of 2025. We then had an indication from some of the potential bidders that they had some further concerns. They wanted to come and do a site visit. Many of them indicated that they would be visiting for this conference, and they were coming with their senior teams in order to go to the site. And we decided that there was wisdom in extending the deadline one final time to the end of June. So that is where we now are in relation to that. I can tell you that I would have interacted with at least one major player in the geothermal world who said that they were actually ready to submit their bid for the May deadline. And so I said, well, you now have a bit of extra time, so go and have a look. So we have lost clearly some months in the bidding process. It has been a very elaborate process, but we feel now, and the advice that I've had from our technical team is that we are fairly confident that this time around we will have responsive bids. Now let me be clear, Ms. Thompson, that this aspect is the production well drilling. That's what we're bidding for. We want to do 3 production wells and 2 re-injection wells, so 5 wells in total. And that process, therefore, is well on the way. We are hopeful that once we get those bids in by the end of June, we do our evaluation using the technical experts that we have available to us, and then we're told that once mobilization happens, we have drilling that will last for about 6 months. During the process of that drilling, we will be going back to the market to now seek the necessary partnerships on the plant construction and the upgrade of the physical infrastructure, because we'll have to do some upgrade to the distribution lines as well. The initial plan is to create a 30 megawatt plant, and as part of that upgrade, of course, we're talking about interconnectivity with the sister islands and Kitts to ensure that not only the people of Nevis, but also our brothers and sisters in St. Kitts benefit from cheaper, cleaner energy. You asked a very important point of how do we repay. And we are hopeful, of course, these will be developmental loans at low interest and long term. The Saudi loan, for example, I think there's a 5-year moratorium. You don't start to repay for 5 years, and then the interest rate is quite low. The CDB terms, we are hopeful, will be similar. And what we hope then to do is to use the proceeds of the project. The intention is that this project should generate significant revenue, not only directly in terms of the sale of energy, but also indirectly in terms of the expansion in the economy. because we anticipate that we'll see new jobs, more businesses, more investors moving in to take advantage. We're here thinking, for example, about large data centers, the possibility of setting up AI-driven, data centers here on the island of Nevis. We're told that they consume lots of money. The possibility of individuals doing offshoring of their data and doing that here on the island of Nevis because we now have access to an abundance of clean, cheap energy. We're talking about powering up ships, cruise ships, and cargo ships because the IMO, I am advised, has recently imposed a penalty on ships to force them to use more green energy. And imagine, if you will, a long line of ships out here in the harbor waiting to come in to fuel up. We have the possibility for green ammonia and green hydrogen. We have the possibility of what the experts are calling power to X, meaning using power to energize and fuel our various industries. So I think the possibilities are truly endless, and I anticipate that we will be able to repay these loans because, one, they're concessionary, but also because, two, we will have a significant expansion in the local economy as a result. My hope, my dream, my ambition is that the island of Nevis and the wider Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis will become an energy-based economy. Now we are focused heavily on tourism and also on citizenship by investment. COVID showed us that tourism is fickle, and the global community and the continued pressures on the CBI show us that that too has its problems. We feel that energy to support what we already have will become a significant player in our local economy. And that is the anticipation, that is our hope. Airport project, we are at a stage now where we are seeking to draw down funds from the National Bank to pay landowners. We have written to the National Bank requesting that we have the initial tranche of funds. I think that letter would have gone out. I believe I saw it either late last week or early this week. And so we are optimistic that we will be in a position to start to pay the landowners. The legal work has been done. It is a question of transferring funds and ensuring that we now have title. Once we have that, then the intention is to proceed with some alacrity to securing the property and then to start the clearing work for purposes of this project. Remember, members of the press and public, that this project is being done in various parts. The land side of the project, that is the terminal expansion and improvement, the fire hall expansion and improvement, the tower improvement, and the road, the realignment of the Island Main Road. All of that is being undertaken by the NIA. Put differently, it is for the NIA to find the resources to deal with that aspect of it. The air side of the project, that is things now like the runway extension, the fuel farm, so allow us to sell fuel, jet fuel, and the upgrades that are necessary, the lighting, emergency, even the current runway has to be strengthened as we anticipate larger aircraft landing. All of that is being dealt with through a facility that we have not yet concluded, but are close to concluding with Mr. Patrick Drahi and his companies. We have been in close negotiations with them now for several months, and I believe are now very close to finalizing that. That aspect will be funded that way. And then the third aspect of it, without which we cannot proceed, is the land acquisition. We have not compulsorily acquired any lands in the area. We have negotiated with landowners and come to agreed pricing. And that land acquisition is being funded to the tune of $7.5 million through a loan from the St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla National Bank. And that loan is guaranteed by the federal government and is being repaid through an arrangement with the federal government. And so those are the three aspects of the project and how the three aspects are going to be funded. So we are very close, and I think that we'll be in a position to move very shortly. The U.S. government student visa appointments being halted. I must confess, Ms. Thompson, that I have not kept abreast of that particular development. It would be, of course, it would be a matter of concern to us, because you're correct, a lot of our students choose to study in the United States. And so it's a matter that certainly I will look into a bit more to find out what exactly is happening and why this is happening. I wasn't aware of the issue because, frankly, I got here a bit late because I was actually in a meeting with the U.S. government this morning, and I would have raised it if I was aware of it, but it had not been brought to my attention, so I really have not kept abreast of that particular issue. But I assure you that I will find out what's happening on that, because I agree with you, it will affect our students. What I will say to our students, however, is that there are options available to them. Options at the University of the West Indies, options at universities throughout the Caribbean, St. George's University, for example, in Grenada. We have the Medical University of Americas right here in Nevis. We have Ross University in St. Kitts. There are also options available to them through scholarships and otherwise in other places, in Cuba, in Taiwan, in parts of Latin America, in Central America. Earth University, for example, I see them advertising, asking for applications for scholarships to attend Earth University in Costa Rica from Nevis. Another significant arrangement that I'm proud and pleased that I was able to negotiate with Earth University to make that possible. So if our young people out there interested in agriculture and they want a degree in agriculture, Earth University is very well respected and they're offering full scholarships. So there are options. There are options to study elsewhere than the United States. I'm not suggesting that we do away with going to the US to study, but I'm just also asking that our students and their parents widen their horizon, look at the world. Morocco, scholarships. Taiwan, scholarships. Cuba, scholarships. Chile, scholarships. OS, scholarships. All available to our students. Earth University in Costa Rica, scholarships. Ross, scholarships. So we just have to make the effort and to do the necessary. So I think it could also present an opportunity for us to expand our range of investigation to determine what is best for us as we look to higher education. But I will look into that matter further for you, and I regret that I was not as au fait with it as I should be. Any other questions for me?
Good morning, Premier.
Good morning, Mr. Bart.
Okay. The Global Sustainable Islands Summit, I wanted to get your opinion on the value of that summit being hosted here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm not talking just about the geothermal component, but the overall idea of having the summit here as a country that is attempting to pursue a sustainability agenda. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's one. You mentioned early in your presentation this idea of sporting organizations needing to do more to support themselves. Mm-hmm. In the same token, would it be useful also if governments also provide, let's say, a minimum kind of subvention to legitimate sporting organizations, and then have them accountability of their spending, their actions, their programs to the government and people of the country in terms of helping to force them to progress in whatever sporting endeavor they are doing. So in other words, it's, for want of a better term, it's a sort of big stick approach to put them in line to generate output. All right. Third, the idea of agriculture. Now, we have been talking about this whole thing about sustainability and agriculture diversification, and we have been making, over the last maybe 20 years or so, spurts of growth and development in agriculture, followed by periods of insufficient activity. And it doesn't seem as if we're really making significant long-term progress, and we're still at the same point in terms of primary products. We have not gone too much into agro-processing, and there are some very good agro-processors on this island, for example, but how sustainable is that? How much foreign exchange can it really generate for themselves and for the country? What's really holding us back, really, in terms of agriculture?
Mr. Bart, as always, very insightful questions. Thank you. The value of the Sustainable Islands Summit being hosted in St. Kitts and Nevis, I agree with you. It goes well beyond geothermal, although geothermal has been the fulcrum, the focus, because everybody is very excited about the transformative impact of the geothermal project, not only on Nevis, but on the wider Federation, and perhaps even the sub-region. But I think for me, the relevance of seeing all of these high-level individuals, major international companies, major organizations, both regional and global, attending that event, as I said, organized jointly in St. Kitts and on Nevis, is a recognition of the leadership role that St. Kitts and Nevis is now playing in terms of the global sustainability agenda. The fact that I could sit on a panel with ministers from the Marshall Islands, as I did at the Eco Park yesterday, it demonstrates, Mr. Bart, that we are truly being recognized by the rest of the world as a global leader in this space. And I think that we ought to commend our country for the strides that we are making. The sessions engaging were not just public sessions in terms of speeches. There were also a number of meetings over coffee, discussions during break time, and formal discussions in terms of bilateral breakout sessions. And I can tell you, the feedback that I got was consistent, that the world is paying attention to St. Kitts and Nevis, that the world is looking to St. Kitts and Nevis as a leader in terms of sustainability, in terms of what we're doing with electricity and energy, in terms of what we're doing with water, in terms of what we're seeking to achieve with food. And so my reference of food brings me to your last question, agriculture. You say, what's holding us back? It's a good question. I'm not sure I have the perfect answer. But I think part of our dilemma has been size and scale. You're right, Nevis has some excellent agro-processors. And you mentioned foreign exchange. St. Kitts also has some excellent agro-processors. In fact, yesterday at the Marriott, across from the main hall where the events were having, I was amazed at the products that were being offered there. Soaps, just products of all kinds. And the packaging on the products. I commented to one young lady, I said the packaging was incredible, attractive, modern. It tells me that we are primed for the next level. But it takes investment. And it takes something that a lot of our people, especially in the business community, don't like to hear, partnership. A lot of times, our people prefer to remain small and own all of it than to own a piece of something that's much bigger. And I have, for example, known, this is first-hand knowledge that I have, of one particular agro-processor in Nevis who had such a world-class product that he was offered a deal with a major international supermarket chain to carry that product. And the requirement would have been that they would have required a significant investment in a factory, and they wanted to site the factory someplace else, not in Nevis, but using his formula, using his expertise. And this product, therefore, would have become an international product. And he came to me and he spoke to me and he told me he turned it down because he didn't want to lose control of his product. Excellent product, but he took a decision to remain small and to own 100% of something smaller. I'm not faulting him. I'm simply saying that sometimes is part of the thinking of our people. We need sometimes to amalgamate efforts and resources if we want to get to scale. And the world is about scale. So you mentioned foreign currency. You can't achieve any significant foreign currency unless we're trading, unless we have not just a case or 6, but we have container loads of our jams and our jellies and our hot sauces going out to the world. I think a lot of this requires us to change our mindset, because a lot of what we do is still an agro-processor in his or her kitchen making up jam or jellies or whatever, and it's really intended and perceived to be just a cottage industry. This is something that is sold at little events that's happening around the island, or you sell 1 or 2 bottles to the hotels. But in terms of a vision, and the vision could come in different ways. For example, Mr. Bart, it could be possible that all of these smaller producers, once they can produce consistently, sell their product to a larger entity. And that larger entity then, fed by these smaller producers, then has the mass to then talk about export. Because that's the only really way. You can't get a supermarket chain or a major carrier. You can't get a Walmart or one of those, right, interested in 2 or 3 bottles of hot sauce from Nevis, no matter how good it is. You need to be able to tell them that we can provide you with thousands and thousands of cases of this product and that you're consistent. So I have no doubt about the quality. I have no doubt about our ability. I think we need to change the way that we see business and perhaps the mindset associated with it if we want to get to the next level. And that is something that we'll have to work on. Agriculture, in many respects, still remains what I would say is a cottage industry. You know, I had someone from one of our major hotels say to me one time that I went there and I said, "Is this lobster at the hotel is serving local?" And the person said, "No, the lobster comes out of Miami." And I thought, why would we be importing lobster to our hotels from Miami? And he said a few things that I found interesting. He said, 1, when the fishermen here go out to dive for lobster, they have no control over what they catch. So they may catch a lobster that's 6 pounds, they may catch one that's 1 pound. When the guest comes to the hotel and the guest orders lobster, you can't put a 1 pound lobster on this guest's plate and a 6 pound lobster on that guest's plate, because I'm going to look at the big lobster and say, well, how come I get this small lobster? So when they order from Miami now, they would order 100 1 pound lobsters. And because those countries are larger, they have the capacity to do that. Right? But I went further. I said, well, I'm not going to leave it there. I said, well, why then not use the local lobsters for things like your lobster salad? Because that doesn't depend on size now. That's just getting the meat and using it for your lobster salads and things. And the chap said something to me I thought was rather interesting. He said the difficulty is that a lot of our local fishermen, if they went out this week and they got a significant catch of lobsters, I'm just using lobster, and they came back and they sold, and they got a few thousand US in their pocket, they're not going back out for the next 2 weeks because they have enough money now to do the things that they need to do. So again, it's not being treated as a business. It's more of a, I keep using the language cottage industry. I'm not even sure if that language is appropriate, but It's like, well, if I go today and I make a lot of money, I ain't going back tomorrow now. I'm going back next week. And the hotel was telling me that they need lobsters every single week. So part of the problem too is the consistency of supply. So they said they will be willing to buy your pepper sauce. They'll be willing to buy your jams or jellies. But if they're buying your jams or jellies for their breakfast buffet, they need jams and jellies every single week. You can't sell them a set this week and then next week when they run out and they call you, you say, boy, sorry, I can't find no guava. I can't find no this, I can't find no that. So check me next month. So as I say, we need to change in terms of how we see business. And I find a lot of the difficulties we've had at government is that we're very good at imparting the skills in terms of saying to our people, this is how you make the hot sauce. This is how you make the jam or the jelly. But the business side, we have been less able to do that. And we do need the business aspect of it. That's critical if we are to move to the next level. So I'll answer that way. You asked about sporting organizations. You said, can we not, as I understand you, just give them a stipend? Basically say to them, and subvention was the word you used. Let me not put words in your mouth. Give them a subvention. It's a possible model that I think we can consider. But I get back to the central point, because the subvention is sort of front-loading it, meaning that every year they know they're going to get $10,000. I'm just drawing a reference. What we have now is not a system of subvention, but we have a system where the organizations would ask. Because if the organizations are engaged in a particular sporting competition, the value, I think, in what you're suggesting is that it allows some predictability on the part of the government. The difficulty we have right now is that it's unpredictable. So, for example, if swimmers decide tomorrow we're going to a meet in Budapest, we get a letter saying 5 swimmers are going to Budapest and can the government sponsor? That was not on our radar. That just appears. If the Archery Association or one of them decide they're going somewhere, we just get a letter asking for sponsorship. And we're not opposed to that, because as I said, we're all about partnerships. The point that I was seeking to make is that we also would like to see these organizations make some effort on their part. So your suggestion is not a bad one. It's actually an excellent suggestion that we front load some money to them. But even if we gave the Cricket Association $10,000 a year, for them to take a team to Antigua or to St. Martin or wherever they're going to take a team to play cricket, they may still need $40,000, $50,000 to make that happen. So how do we prevent them coming back to the government and saying, well, you gave us 10, the overall cost is 50, we need another 40? That's what I'm trying to avoid. And the only way we can avoid that is for them to take some responsibility. Remember, as we talk about money for sport, that the government and the taxpayers are already supporting all the junior programs which are run through the sports department and through the schools. Football, basketball, netball, cricket, track. All of these that are done through the schools are already being financed by government. The organization I'm talking about is not those, because they are already taken care of through the Ministry and Department of Youth and Sports, etc. I'm talking about the associations now which are independent of the government, like the Cricket Association, and saying to them, but you all need to step up. You all need to do more for your players. You all need to do more as an association. We have, of course, the Nevis Cricket Association is a part of the Leeward Islands Cricket Association, which is then part and parcel of the West Indies cricket setup. Are there opportunities to get money, to get technical assistance through West Indies, coaching? We know, for example, in football, FIFA provides significant support. That's how the National Football Association is able to fund a lot of what they do. So when teams are traveling from Sinkers, football teams are going this place or that place, you don't hear the clamor about government, because through FIFA and through their own activities, they're able to raise money. So all I'm doing is saying to our associations, please, if you can, do a bit more. And approach this as a real partnership as opposed to putting the entire burden onto the government. I'm not suggesting that we're not prepared to help. I'm just saying that it would be easier for us, with limited resources, to be more effective in our use of those resources if these associations did more for themselves. I haven't heard, I don't know if anybody in the room, but the Nevis Cricket Association has a fundraiser. They've done any cricket that they say, well, okay, charge something at the gate to raise money? I don't know. But I'm not seeing that. And that's why I made the comparison to our friends at the Water Department, because every Friday they're there offering something to raise their money, because they know come Easter every year, they go away. Right? And that is all that I'm suggesting, that we need to do more. It's not just about talk, it's not just about people in position. It's really about people using those positions to generate what the organizations need to keep them sustained. You can't have a thing where every time they just come to the government with a full bill and say, government, pay that. That doesn't make any sense. Anything further for me?
Good morning.
Good
Elke
morning.
Hewlett, Department of Information. I'll keep it brief today. Can you give us an idea of how the Nevis economy is doing and whether or not it is forecast to improve or decline in light of indicators suggesting potential global recession in 2025? Also, can you update the public on the employment climate on Nevis and also give us an idea of what's going on with the construction sector, because I think everywhere I go, I'm seeing buildings popping up. Regarding the water drilling project, rather than starting over at Descents, if they can't move forward with that existing well that they just dug, would it be more feasible to move on to site number 4, which is, I think, Braziers, if I'm not mistaken? On that same matter of geothermal and the conference that's going on now, the world seems to have taken notice of Nevis's geothermal energy project. How does this impact the government's efforts to secure financing to realize its goal of bringing this clean, renewable energy source on stream? And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hewlett, and thank you for your very insightful questions. We are very bullish on the economy here in Nevis. Tourism has really been doing well. The Four Seasons, which is our flagship, has been sold out on multiple occasions during this season already. We are seeing an uptick, as I would have described earlier, in efforts in terms of our movie industry. And we are seeing more and more jobs becoming available. In fact, I was at a particular establishment, paid a visit just a few days ago, and their biggest complaint was their need for workers. And they were saying to me that they are looking to hire an additional 50 persons this year, but we're not getting the number of applicants that they would require. And as a consequence, they have started to do more advertising, more recruiting. So jobs are available. I say to our people all the time that it may not be the perfect job. It may not be that you get the dream job, the first job. I'm going to pick on Miss Thompson, who's here. And Miss Thompson is a young lady. She's working at Vaughan Radio. She's asking questions. Maybe she wants to be a journalist. I'm not sure what she wants to do with her life. But if it's not working in media or working in broadcasting, she may, let us say she wants ultimately to be in a medical lab somewhere. Miss Thompson, forgive me for picking on you. But this is her first job. This is an opportunity that she got. And you know, sometimes you get an opportunity and it's not what you think you want, but you start to like it, you love it, and you say, you know what, maybe I could be a journalist for you because I really like what I'm doing. I want our people to open their minds to the possibilities. I spoke to a young person the other day, and I mentioned, he said he wanted a job. I told him to go to such and such a place because I know that they're hiring. And the gentleman said to me that he's not going to work at this particular place. And I said, why? And he said, the pay wasn't enough. And I said to him, well, what are you planning to do? And he said he planned to stay home until he finds what he wants. Now that's a luxury that many people don't have. And the fact that some opt to remain jobless rather than going out to work. My parents, and I'm sure all of us who have parents and grandparents would have taught us, you do what you can do until you can do what you want to do. And so you have to be able to go out sometimes, step outside your comfort zone, try something to ensure that you can earn. So I said to the young person, I said, but sir, if you say you're looking at a job because you have bills to pay, your argument is that this job doesn't pay you enough, so you prefer to stay home. Well, you realize if you stay home, your income is zero. If you stay home, your income is zero. If you go out to work, you say, well, it's only $2,000. I'm drawing a reference. That's not enough. But 2,000 is more than zero. And while you're out there working for the 2,000, you keep your eyes open and you're looking around to see what else might be available. So I'm encouraging our people, Ms. Hewlett, because I feel that jobs are there. At a particular establishment, I went desperate to find new workers. They said something to me that I found rather interesting. They said every time they advertise, the responses they get are from the OECS countries, not from Nevis. They're getting a lot of interest from some of our neighbors, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, but not from Nevisians. I don't know why, and I don't quite understand. Because if you're a young person living home in your parents' house, what are your expenses really? You're not paying rent, I hope not. Parents wouldn't charge you rent. And most parents I know are not even going to tell you got to pay electricity and water. Them big people things there you don't have to deal with yet. So even if you feel that your salary should be $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and you're not getting that quite yet, you still have the ability to go out and earn and even save a little something because you don't have those expenses. And I compare that to somebody who's coming in here from one of our neighboring islands. They got to find a place to live. They're in a strange environment. They don't have anybody who's doing anything for them. And then you know what they do? They get the same job and they start there, and after they get accustomed to what's going on in Nevis, nighttime they hold something else, you know. And they're now doing something else. And then you see, they start to move. They send for the cousin. They get their friend. And then you know what happens after 4, 5, 10 years? Nevisians start to say, oh, they come here and they're doing better than us. It's a story of immigrants around the world. I spoke to a lady recently who said when they went to the U.S. Virgin Islands back in the 70s, they used to call them down island people. And they said certain jobs, the VIP would say, me born, yeah, me not do that. Me not work for that kind of money. And she said, we from Nevis and St. Kitts and Anguilla, we worked. And she said something instructive. She said, today, we are the ones who own the businesses and the nice homes because we worked. I continue to appeal to our people to wake up and grab the opportunities. Your first job may not be your dream job. It may not be your perfect job, but hold it. And whilst you're holding it, keep your eyes open, see what else might be out there for you. Construction sector, Ms. Hewlett, you're right, the construction sector is very active. Currently, planning statistics say that we have 217 active construction sites on the island. Last year, we had 214 building applications, 194 were approved. And so far, for the first 5 months of this year, we already have 63 applications, of which 54 have been approved. But the number I think that's most relevant to the question of how the construction sector is doing and the jobs being created in that sector is the fact that there are 217 active construction sites. I took a little drive just recently in the environs of Charlestown, and I drove up, going up the road there by the credit union building, and I saw a massive building going up Chapel Street. And then I saw the multi-million-dollar refurbishment of the Methodist Church. I walked across on Juice Street. I saw a building that had been there abandoned for a long time, former Erm's Fancy Store, that was now bought and completely gutted and refurbished. I walked down the street. I see an empty lot, Amory Bakery, but that's going to start soon. Across from it, the Charlestown Police Station is under construction, now nearing completion. I walked up the road a little further, and I see a sign up there saying 12,000 square foot commercial building for rent coming soon next to the bath stream. If you turn around and you came back into Charlestown, Chinese have just put up a building right there in the bus stop. And then if you were to turn to go up Happy Hill, First Federal, I think they're called in St. Kitts, is about to start a significant commercial building in that area on Happy Hill. All of this within less than a quarter-mile radius in terms of construction and activity. I am not yet getting into house construction because that's happening all across the island. We're not building, renovating. I'll say one last thing, Ms. Hewlett, on the issue of construction. And that is to say that we took some initiatives during COVID, which we have actually continued, of providing fiscal concessions to persons who want to build. And those initiatives have really borne spectacular fruit. During COVID, for example, the realtors said that they had a backlog of real estate properties, a lot of old homes. And in consultation with them, because we don't do anything haphazardly, we decided to waive the alien land holding license fee of 10%. That simple initiative led to the sale of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property. And you know what started to happen? People who bought those older homes now start to refurbish them. I've mentioned before that I spoke to one of my friends who said to him, I hadn't seen him in a while, he said, because he's up in the hills. What are you up in the hills doing? Building pools, one after the other, because these new buyers who had bought these homes were gutting them, modernizing them, adding pools, and that he was making a living just building pools. These are the types of knock-on effects in the local economy from good policies designed to generate economic activity. And this island of Nevis, I think, is on the rise. I am prayerful that God will spare us any storms. I am hopeful that on the crime front, we will continue to be peaceful as we have been since October of last year, and that this little Nevis here will continue to thrive as part of the Federation, to to demonstrate what we can do with proper management, effective policies, and the stick-to-itiveness that is necessary to move us forward. So I'm very confident, Ms. Hewlett, that our economy is on the rise and will continue to be on the rise. I don't have the numbers, but I do know for the first quarter we exceeded our budgeted expectations in terms of revenue, and we kept within our spending limits, and I can certainly provide you with that report after this session is finished. Are there any more questions for me?
You didn't answer about geothermal.
What did I say about geothermal?
Whether or not like having so much focus on the project here, whether or not that would help you guys in terms of securing financing.
Okay, thank you. You're right. On geothermal and the financing and having all this attention, I think it can only help. I believe, in fact, that there are people and governments and multilaterals who want to be a part of this project because this project is really reflective of a global transformation. The idea really is that you have something you can hold up to the world and say, this is the shining example. And I think that is where we are currently on the island of Nevis. You also asked about the descent well and whether or not we should just shift to another location. That's really for the technical people. I think what they're suggesting is that they want to get this drill bit out of this well so they could continue. Remember, they had already got down to 750 feet. But if they can't, then because that at 750 feet they found water. Maybe I forgot to say that. So they know that water is there. So they are saying, well, let's just move a few feet and start again. Instead of packing up and relocating the entire drill rig to a different part of the island. Because we know that we have water at Descents. We have found water at Descents. It's just that at 750 feet, we lost our drill bit. So I'm hopeful that they can recover it and just continue and finish that well. But if they can't, the indication from the technical teams now is that they will try to move a few feet and get into that aquifer again. So we will wait to see what the technical teams come up with.
Okay. I've since contacted the drillers and they're saying that it looks good for getting the drill bit out.
But that's good
so,
news.
Yes. Two final questions. Has there been any movement on the fair share agreement? And also, we're seeing politicians on St. Kitts and Nevis throwing out hints of coalition. Coming out of the Team Unity construct, which unfortunately went very left, is the CCM party that you lead looking to join with any parties on St. Kitts at the next federal level, federal election, sorry?
Fair share agreement, as I reported to the press, we do have the agreement in hand. It is being studied by us, and we anticipate having our views expressed to the federal government. We anticipate that we will meet jointly, if not the full cabinets, then certainly the Prime Minister and I, and our teams to discuss the next steps in relation to that. I have been very reluctant to make public statements about it because of the sensitivity and the fact that a lot of work is still being done at the local level to determine what the best options may be. Just to indicate that the World Bank had given various scenarios. So it's a question of evaluating those scenarios and then coming to a meeting of the minds as to which of those scenarios is best positioned to bring some equity to the Federation after all these years of agitation. Coalition government, Ms. Hewlett, I am focused on governing the island of Nevis. I am focused on doing the best that we can here on Nevis. The people of Nevis were kind enough to give us all 3 seats at the federal level in August of 2022. Unfortunately, they were not enough to put us in a position to be in government. But from the opposition benches, we're making our contribution as best as we can. In relation to the island of Nevis, our people in December of 2022 renewed our mandate in Nevis, and we are focused on delivering for our people. I am not engaging in public speculation, as I see some are doing, about who is going to join with who, because I will remind all political parties that you first must win seats if you want to join with anybody. And so it seems to me rather strange that you don't have a seat, but you're having discussions about joining with people. So that is important, that we understand the dynamics of our politics. And my approach right now, and the approach of the CCM, is to put our heads down and focus on the work, focus on delivering for the people of Nevis, and then the politics will take care of itself. There will be a time for that, but our time now is to govern. So I hope that answers your question. Anything further for me? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much. This concludes our press conference for today. I want to thank all the members of the press who came, and thank the live coverage, our dear friends from NTV as usual, and certainly Mr. Daniel, thank you for always being here. And this is covered on Vaughan Radio, and is it on Freedom as well? Freedom FM, so I want to thank them for the coverage. Thank you very much.